friends, this is Kristen from the Pros and Cons team, and today I'm really excited to talk to you about the pros and cons of living in the country. So growing up, I lived in a small town and it was great, and then since then I have lived in mainly bigger cities. Well, bigger for me, bigger than the small town. Some people, they're not like, it's not like New York or stuff like that, but like they're bigger places, and yeah, this is my experience. So, starting off with the pros is people seem to be more friendly. Not saying that people in cities aren't friendly, it's just that everybody knows everybody, or if you don't know them, you just are friendly to them. So, moving out of the small town, I remember the biggest shock for me is I would be running down the road and somebody would be walking by me and I'd wave and they wouldn't wave back. And I was like, wait, that's weird. Like, why would you not wave back? Like, that was common courtesy in a small town. And I know every small town has different cultures, but from what I've seen, most small towns seem to have that friendly wave, even if you don't know them. Like, you still wave. So that can be something that is a pro, or it could be a con if you're like, wow, that's weird. But that's something for me that was a pro. Another thing is that you can see the stars. I have missed that so much. Like, we would go outside and just, yeah, have the stars. And then you can usually have a bigger backyard because out in the country, people don't seem to live as tightly compact as in the city. And so we had a bigger yard so that we got to go outside a lot more that way. Another great thing is you know people around you a lot more than in a city, which is kind of interesting, but like, I feel like you just know people. People are more likely to reach out to their neighbors, I feel like. Another thing that is really great with living in a country is you can explore so many things. I feel like there were like walks that you could go on. We would go do some crazy things and like mud volleyball, or just, I don't know, going to a local reservoir and just having fun. It was a lot of fun. Our activities were way different than what you do in the city. I feel like that has been a big surprise for me, is being like, wow, like, yeah, it's way different. So I guess if you don't like that type of stuff, that could be a con. But it's just like there's a lot of fun things. Also, it is probably cheaper than living in a city. Again, depending on where you go, but like on the general scale, it's cheaper. So that is a really great thing of living in a country. Okay, moving on to some of the cons. It is hard if you have an emergency. So our closest hospital was like 15-20 minutes away in a smaller town, but it didn't have the best reviews. People felt like anybody, like people that couldn't get into the big city, would come out to that area. So actually, I had a family member that had health problems, and if there was an emergency, under most circumstances, they would go 45 minutes to an hour to get to a better hospital. So that can be a long time if you're having an emergency. So that is a con of living in a small town. Also, sometimes the smells can be annoying if you're not used to them. I don't know. I love cow manure. I love the smell of cow manure. That sounds really weird, but I really do. I think it's like a home smell for me. So that's probably weird. But like, if you aren't used to it, that could be something that you're like, oh, that's so gross. Or chicken manure. Like, I don't know. It's a funny thing, but like, that can be something that's annoying. Also, I feel like a lot of people moved from the city to the country being like, yeah, it's going to be so peaceful and quiet. Yes, however, you got to realize if you're living next to a farmer, they are going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning running their tractors. So like, it can be hard if you're not used to that. Or you're going to have chickens crowing at like dawn, because that's what we had. And so like, that is something that, yes, a small town is quieter typically, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to have noise going on during the morning hours, just because that's kind of the life of living in the country. So these are some of the pros and cons that I've thought of. If there are additional pros and cons that you'd like to add, please leave them in the comments below. Also, you can check out more pros and cons linked in the description below. I hope you have a great day. Bye.